Hello again my friends, welcome to another one of my benchmarking videos. This is Tutagamon and I welcome you in my Watchdogs benchmarking video for the GTX 1070. This is a digital recording at 60 frames per second. The recording is done on an external recorder, so what you will see in this video will be pure performance. As you can see, the system is idling perfectly right now. This is very important to note because it shows that it has nothing to do with the recording itself. So what you will see in this video will be pure performance, and this is very important because the game I'm going to benchmark is very CPU limited and we are going to need all the available resources. The CPU is overclocked to 4.8 GHz, which is a crazy speed. I use that for benchmarking, of course, not everyday use. The system has 16 GB of memory, and the graphics card is a single GTX 1070 made by KFA2. It is the EX model. Latest force were installed, and it is also overclocked, so it will be boosting at 2 GHz. We will see that at the end of the video. Now for this benchmarking video I'm going to capture frame rate data and frame times with fraps, and we will see the result in this file, and I will do some analysis at the end of the video with frame latency analysis tool. Let me launch the game and let's see how it performs. This is one of the heaviest games out there. It is only comparable to Grand Theft Auto 4, and you will see what I mean in a minute. Okay, the game has loaded. 1080p resolution, ultra textures, anti-aliasing at temporal, sub-pixel morphological anti-aliasing. There are higher settings of course for this one, but I am using these settings because these are the settings I used for my GTX 970 benchmarking video, and I want to now this is something I don't remember. MHBAO. I'm not sure if I used this one for my GTX 970. Anyway, I'm going to do the benchmark, and if I have fucked up I will do it all over again. Actually, I believe this was the setting for the ultra preset. So why am I worried? I'm not starting the benchmark just yet until this scene goes out of the way due to crazy high frame rate. Okay, I'm now starting the benchmark. Take a look at the GPU usage.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I overreacted. You just make me so crazy sometimes.
Uh-huh.
Come on back, okay? I promise I won't freak out on you. Aiden? You're going after that creep, aren't you?
Well,
You're doing it right now. I can't believe you.
it's not like that.
Stop being a hero, Aiden. Let it go.
Let what? Yeah, the call's breaking up. I can't hear you.
No, you can hear me perfectly. You need to stop right now.
Yeah, hello? You still there? Can't hear you. Okay, gotta go.
Ugh!
I hope the idiot does not die, because sometimes he dies in this part by himself.
Hey! Hey, stop!
I think we are in the clear, unless he finds something new to kill himself. He looks a little fat to me. I don't know how he runs so fast.
Fuck! He's got a gun.
No, fuck you. Okay, this is the end of the benchmark. Let me see something. I believe the Ultra preset uses this setting of ambient occlusion, so I believe I am okay. So the benchmark result was 70 frames per second. I believe I had about the same result with the GTX 970, and we will see exactly why if you take a good look at the GPU usage. Now that we have a proper graph, we can see that the GTX 1070 is only working about at half its power due to extreme CPU limits. The frame rate is quite decent, of course. It is close to 60 frames per second. The frame times are a little spiky. This is probably due to the CPU limits, but we will have to see the CPU analysis, the frame times analysis of the frame latency analysis tool of FLAT. Now the CPU usage is very high on all cores, especially 1, 2 and 4, with an average of close to 80% at some point, 70 something, 80. Very high CPU usage on all cores. The developers did try, of course, to take advantage of all system resources, but this was not enough. At least Watchdogs 2 is a lot better performing. Temps are okay. RAM usage at 5.7 gigabytes. The power of the card very low, of course, at almost 50%, since only half the video card was working due to the CPU limits. The GPU temps are also very low. The card was running at 2 GHz, however, throughout the run, although it did not reach anything close to maximum power, and we had 3.5 gigabytes, give or take, of video RAM usage. So let's see the frame latency analysis tool. Sometimes I do benchmarks and I do not believe what I am seeing. 4.8 GHz CPU. Anyhow, comparable frame rate 56 from 70. Stuttering was not, variability was not too much at 2.4 milliseconds. Of course, 2.4 milliseconds for 60 frames per second is quite something. 1.1 milliseconds of stuttering. It is also a bit high for such low frame rate. Let's see the graph. Yes, we can see what's going on here. We do have a lot of spikes in quite a lot of frames, indicative of the CPU limits that the system has. Some frames are quite delayed, and this delay comes at around the 16 to 18 millisecond threshold, so it is quite important. It's not if the game was running at 200 frames per second and we had such spikes at 60 milliseconds, it would be nothing. We have seen such examples in other benchmarks like Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Anyhow, frames beyond 16 milliseconds are not too many, but quite some. They are enough to affect the overall gameplay. That's why we have lower than 60 frames per second comparable. Almost inexcusable for a GTX 1070, and even the CPU is not that bad. Most of the frame times are at 14, 15 and 16 milliseconds and 13. Okay, overall this paints a fairly good picture for a game, but if you think that these frame times are with only 50% GPU usage, you know that all these frame times could be in this place 5, 6, 7 or 8. Anyhow, this benchmark will be done on a better CPU at some point, and we will see how it fares. The frame times chart without anything else, only the frame times. A lot of spikes all over. The frame rate chart. We do have some ups and downs here. Of course, that does not mean really much, because games rarely have a steady frame rate. Max, min and average. Variability and stuttering graph 2.4 and 1.1. These values would not be nothing if the frame rate was at 200 frames per second or 100 frames per second, but for such low frame rate they do mean something. We need 16.6 milliseconds for 60 frames per second, and if you have 2.4 and 1.1 milliseconds from variability and stuttering, you know that the perceivable gaming experience is not as enjoyable as it could be. The 90th percentile is at 22 milliseconds, 23 milliseconds. There is a steep curve, of course, after the 90%. Okay, this should be a lot better with such low GPU load. It needs a better processor, that's what I mean. Time spent beyond curve. And last, the comparable frame rate, the stuttering and the variability and the stuttering. Okay, not too bad as far as gaming goes. You can of course play this game on a system with such specs, but the problem is that you can play exactly the same with a graphics card with half the power of the GTX 1070, and that is clearly due to CPU limits, extreme CPU limits. I have only seen this in Grand Theft Auto 4, so this will be a good test for a better CPU in the future. Thank you very much guys for watching, and as always, take care.